There is a voice inside your head right now. You have heard it your whole life. It shows up when you make a mistake, when you are not sure you are good enough, when something goes wrong and you need to decide how to respond to yourself. That voice has an accent. It has a tone. It has a specific way of delivering hard news to you about yourself. And if you sit with it long enough and trace it all the way back, you will find that it sounds like someone you knew a very long time ago. Most likely, it sounds like a parent. Now, your child is building that same voice, and the raw material they are using to build it is you. This is not about the big moments. It is not about the times you lost your patience spectacularly or the arguments you have already replayed 100 times. It is about something far more ordinary and far more powerful than that. It is about the daily, repetitive, unremarkable way you speak to your child when nothing particularly important is happening. The tone you use when they spill something, the words you reach for when they get something wrong, the way your voice sounds when they are struggling with something and they look to you to see how serious it is. These are the moments that build the voice, not the dramatic ones, the quiet, everyday ones that neither of you will consciously remember, but both of you will carry forever. Neuroscience is clear on this. The brain does not store every experience equally. It stores patterns. Repetition is what writes things permanently. A single harsh word in an otherwise warm relationship leaves almost no lasting mark. But the same harsh tone used consistently, daily, in the small, unremarkable moments, that becomes architecture. It becomes the internal structure your child uses to speak to themselves for the rest of their life. Every time they face failure, every time they attempt something difficult, every time they need to decide whether they are capable or whether they should give up, the voice they hear in those moments will carry your cadence, your word choices, your emotional temperature. Not because you meant to give it to them, because repetition wrote it in before either of you knew what was happening. Here's what makes this so important to understand right now. Your child is not just recording what you say to them, they are recording what you say about them to other people when you think the impact is smaller because they are not the direct target. The comment you made to another parent at the school gate about how your child never listens, the laugh you shared with a family member about how stubborn they are, the exhausted sigh and the words said to a partner across the dinner table while your child sat quietly nearby. Children do not have a switch that turns off their awareness when adults are talking around them. They hear everything. And what they hear you say about them to others becomes some of the most deeply held beliefs they will carry about themselves. Because those words were not performed for them. Those words were the truth you told when you thought it was safe to tell it. There is a particular kind of damage that happens when a child hears themselves described in permanent terms. Not, "you made a mess," but "you are so messy." Not, "that was unkind," but "you are so mean." Not, "you forgot again," but "you never remember anything." The shift from behavior to identity is one of the most significant things a parent's language can do to a child's developing sense of self. When a behavior is named, the child knows what to change. When an identity is named, the child knows who they are. And a child who has been told who they are enough times will spend years and sometimes decades trying to prove that identity right, even when it is destroying them. Because the voice inside their head has already decided, and that voice sounds exactly like yours. But here's the part that changes everything. The same mechanism that writes damaging patterns in also writes healing ones. The same repetition that installs a harsh inner critic can install a compassionate one. Every time you speak to your child's capability instead of their failure, every time you say, "that was hard and you kept going," instead of, "why can you not just get it right?" you are laying down a different track. Every time you repair after a hard moment, every time you say, "I spoke to you in a way I'm not proud of and I want to do better," you are showing your child something their inner voice will use for the rest of their life. You are showing them that the way we speak to ourselves and to the people we love is something we can choose, something we can change, something worth paying attention to. The most powerful thing you can do starting today is not complicated, and it does not require a perfect day or a perfect version of yourself. It requires one thing.
Before you speak to your child in a moment of frustration, in a moment of exhaustion, in one of those ordinary, unremarkable moments where nothing feels important enough to be careful, ask yourself one question. Would I want them to say this to themselves one day? Not, is this true? Not, is this fair? Just, would I want this inside their head? Because it's going in either way. The only question is what you choose to put there. You are not building a child. You are building a person. A whole, complex, lifelong person who will one day lie awake at 3 in the morning and hear a voice telling them whether they are enough. That voice is being built right now, in the kitchen, in the car, in the 5 seconds after something goes wrong. You already have more power over that voice than anyone else on earth. Use it like you know that, because now you do. Drop a comment right now and tell me, whose voice do you hear inside your own head, and does it help you or hold you back? I read every single one, and this conversation is one of the most important ones we can have. And if this made you stop and think about the way you speak to yourself as much as the way you speak to your child, subscribe, because next week we're going into how to break the cycle when the voice inside your own head is the one you are most afraid of passing on. You do not want to miss that one.